Do you wish to tell me how you murdered Stephanie?
I did it at the high school. I beat her to death.
You beat her to death, did you?
Yes.
Can you tell me how you beat her to death?
With my fists.
And whereabouts at the high school did you do that?
At the main entrance to the left, the second storage area inside of that.
In the second storage area?
Yes.
So the main entrance, so...
Once you pass the inner gate to the left, the second storage area on the left side.
And how did you get Stephanie into that area?
I picked her up and threw her in there.
And did she say anything to you at that time?
No.
Life in the serene town of Leeton, Australia, was filled with promise for Stephanie Scott, a young teacher just days away from her dream wedding. Known for her vibrant energy and beloved by her students, Stephanie was set to marry her longtime partner, Aaron, over the Easter weekend of 2015. But on the afternoon of April 3rd, as Aaron kissed his bride-to-be goodbye, neither could have known it would be the final time they'd ever meet. What unfolded over those fateful days would cast a dark shadow over this joyful season, raising chilling questions. What happened to Stephanie in her final hours? And who would shatter the life she had so lovingly built? Welcome back to Crime Rhapsody. Kindly subscribe to our channel, as it encourages us to research and publish more stories. Thank you. Stephanie Claire Scott was born on October 14, 1988, in Sydney, Australia. By Easter of 2015, she was an enthusiastic and much-loved drama teacher at Leeton High School in North South Wales's Riverina region. The daughter of Robert and Marilyn Scott, Stephanie had 2 sisters and 2 brothers. Her father was the deputy principal at Canowindra High School, where Aaron Leeson Woolley was a student. Aaron grew close to the Scott family and 2 years later began a relationship with their daughter, Stephanie. On April 11, 2014, the couple announced their engagement and set a wedding date of April 11, 2015. Aaron kissed Stephanie, who was 26 years old at that time, goodbye and told her he loved her at 12:30 p.m. on April 3rd, 2015. Little did he know it would be the last time he would see his beautiful bride-to-be. He was off to Canowindra to a farewell party for a friend until April 5th while Stephanie stayed home to finalize wedding plans. About 11 a.m. on Easter Sunday, Stephanie picked up school keys from a work colleague's house. She wanted to make sure her students and the relief teacher had everything they needed while she was away on her honeymoon. Her colleague lived near the school and walked with Stephanie to the school gate and unlocked it. Stephanie went through the gate, closed and locked it behind her, and kept the keys. She had parked her red 2010 Mazda 3 sedan in Myrtle Street, which was near the gate. Stephanie went through a second set of locked steel gates to access the school building and made her way to the English teacher's staff room, where she stayed for 2 hours and 40 minutes, working at her desk before it was time to go home, as she had a wedding to prepare for. After leaving the admin block, Stephanie walked along an enclosed corridor towards the locked steel gates. As she stopped to grab the keys from her bag, she was grabbed from behind. One can only imagine how scared she must have been as her attacker placed his hand over her mouth. Stephanie struggled and fought back, scratching at his face, trying to yell. She was dragged along the corridor toward a small room, once used as a photography darkroom. Stephanie continued to struggle, scratching and fighting as she tried in vain to free herself. As her attacker closed the door behind them, Stephanie tried to flee but was pushed violently, falling and landing face down on the floor. The offender restrained Stephanie by placing his arm around her neck and hitting her repeatedly in the face. Stephanie struggled, fighting for her life as she was struck in a violent rage up to 30 or 40 times. After 40 to 50 seconds, Stephanie fell unconscious. The offender put on a condom and forced himself on her. As Stephanie lay on the floor, the offender placed his hand on her throat and removed a 40-centimeter knife from his right pocket. He struck her in the neck, causing severe injuries which resulted in huge blood loss and ultimately her death. After the brutal murder, Vincent returned home and made himself something to eat. Later on, he returned to the school to clean up. He bagged up Stephanie's body and shoved her into the boot of her own car, and then drove Stephanie's car to his house, where he hid it for the night. In the early hours of April 6th, Vincent drove Stephanie's car with her body in the boot to the Cocopara National Park, 50 kilometers northeast of Leeton. He placed her body on the ground, removed her clothing, before burning the body under branches with 20 liters of petrol. Before doing so, he had stolen Stephanie's graduation and engagement rings from her finger. He drove Stephanie's car back to his place, removed items including the fuel can, changed his clothing, and drove the car to Pike Road in Wamun, another village in Leeton, where he left it near a canal. He then posted Stephanie's rings to his twin brother Marcus for him to sell. Marcus agreed, later pawning the jewelry at an Adelaide jewelry store for $705. Aaron texted Stephanie on Easter Sunday, but she didn't reply. When he returned home about 7:20 p.m., she wasn't there. He sent more texts, but again, Stephanie failed to reply. He drove past Leeton High School and friends' homes, but her car was nowhere to be seen. While increasingly concerned, he thought pre-wedding nerves might have prompted her to spend the night elsewhere. He messaged her again in the morning, but still no reply. He called friends and family to no avail. So at 4:30 p.m. on April 6, 2015, Aaron went to Leeton Police Station to report Stephanie missing. Police conducted a triangulation on Find My iPhone on Stephanie's mobile. It was turned off or not operating. There had been no activity on her bank accounts since she shopped at stores in Griffith on Easter Saturday, and no social media activity. Stephanie's family were consulted, and the missing persons report quickly developed into serious concerns for her welfare. Relatives and friends posted appeals on social media, conducted coordinated searches of Leeton, and hired a helicopter to cover a wider area. At 8 a.m. on April 7, 2015, police launched appeals for information through social media and traditional media outlets. Reporters from national media groups converged on Leeton to interview family members and friends. Late on Tuesday, a large group of Stephanie's family and friends gathered to try to break into the school, believing Stephanie may have been held captive in the school grounds. Police spoke with the group and convinced them not to forcibly enter the school. A neighbor advised them he had seen the school cleaner, Vincent Stanford, working over the Easter weekend. A short time later, Stanford drove past the school. When police stopped him, he told them he had just dropped his mother at work and was heading home. Vincent Stanford was born on December 21, 1990, in Tasmania. He was 24 at the time of the investigation and lived at home with his mother, Annika Nord, and his older brother Luke. Stanford also had an identical twin brother, Marcus, who lived in South Australia. About 7:30 p.m. on April 7, 2015, police were told Stanford's white Toyota Hilux truck had been seen at the school. Police went to Stanford's home to discuss his movements and ask if he had seen Stephanie. He confirmed he was at the school over the Easter weekend, cleaning the bins and stuff. He denied knowing Stephanie or seeing her there. As police were leaving, Stanford called to them and said, "Hey, good luck with the search." On April 8, 2015, detectives went to see Stanford. He wasn't home. They asked Stanford's mother to tell her son to contact them. About 11 a.m., Stanford went to Leeton Police Station and made a statement to the police. Stanford said he had been cleaning at the school all weekend, but had not seen anyone else there except some roller skaters, who were later identified and interviewed. He also said he went to a local supermarket in Leeton. Police contacted the manager at the nominated supermarket and were advised it was closed on Easter Sunday. Later that day, a police unit was set up to investigate the suspicious disappearance of Stephanie Scott. Inquiries with Stanford's employer revealed all of their cleaners were on leave over Easter, and Stanford should not have been at the school. Detectives contacted Stanford by phone to confirm details about his trip to the supermarket. Stanford said he went to the supermarket on Easter Sunday and bought just groceries, some dinner, and iced coffee. But the supermarket was not open on Easter Sunday. Vincent Stanford was now a person of interest. Later that same day at 6 p.m., some detectives went back to Stanford's home to speak with him. He wasn't there, but his mother and brother were. Stanford's mother gave police consent to conduct a walkthrough, during which they found a set of keys on a red and white lanyard that matched the description of the keys Stephanie's colleague had given her. Police saw fresh tire tracks from the front of the house into the backyard, but noted Stanford's truck had a larger wheelbase than the impressions. A used condom was found on the ground where the tire impressions ended. Yellow tape was also found nearby. An open condom wrapper without a condom and other wrapped condoms were found on the floor in Stanford's bedroom. Police declared the premises a crime scene. Annika, Stanford's mother, and Luke, his brother, were removed from the house and escorted to Leeton Police Station. A short time later, Stanford arrived home in his truck and told the detectives that he had been out taking photographs. Detectives saw a digital camera on the truck's front passenger seat and some large medium-density fiberboards in the back smeared with what appeared to be blood. Police seized Stanford's truck, and he agreed to accompany them to the station. Police removed the camera from the car and turned it on. The first image displayed was of a burnt human corpse in the bush, which appeared to be female. Stanford continued to deny he had any contact with Stephanie or her car. Police noticed on Stanford what appeared to be several small, fresh-looking scratch marks on his forehead, under both eyes, on the bridge of his nose, his upper right forearm, and small marks on his left arm. Stanford cited different incidents of bumping his head and running into a tree branch a week earlier to explain them. Further analysis of the camera revealed another photo of the same burnt corpse taken from a different angle. Stanford told police he downloaded the photos from a horror movie on the internet because he thought they were funny. He denied the photos were of Stephanie. It was at this point that Stanford was arrested for the murder of Stephanie Scott. Stanford was allowed to speak with a lawyer, but declined to be interviewed, but consented to forensic procedures, including an examination of his injuries by a doctor, photographing and measuring of those injuries, the collection of fingernail scrapings, and a buccal swab for DNA. Stanford was then charged with the murder of Stephanie Scott. After careful investigation of Stanford's car by detectives from the Albury Crime Scene Division, the stains on the medium-density fiberboards returned a positive result for human blood, which was later matched to Stephanie's DNA. Destination stored in the vehicle's GPS included Boundary Road, Leeton, which was 11 kilometers from Stanford's home, and Cocopara National Park, which also was about 50 kilometers north of Leeton. Surface deposits on the vehicle indicated it had driven on a gravel and dirt road. A condom in its wrapper and a mobile phone were found under the passenger seat, of which Stanford refused to provide the access code to police. On April 9, 2015, the detectives told Stephanie's family that Stanford had been arrested and charged. The family were told about the photos found on the camera, but were not told about her burnt body. A short time later, a national news bulletin revealed an arrest had been made after photos of a burnt body were found on a mobile phone. The information, which was leaked by an unknown source, caused enormous grief for the family. At 9:30 a.m. that same day, police received a call saying that a car matching the description of Stephanie's had been found near a farm on Irrigation Way, Wamun, near the intersection of Pike Road and Boundary Road, which was 11 kilometers from Stanford's residence. A crime scene was declared. A forensic examination of the car revealed a substantial amount of human blood in the boot and on the rear bumper. The blood matched Stephanie's DNA. Stanford's DNA was also found in the car. At 2 p.m. on Easter Sunday, a female witness was walking along Malley Street at the rear of Leeton High School when she heard noises she described as things being moved or dragged across the ground, things like furniture or something similar. This was the point Stanford was struggling with moving Stephanie's body after killing her in cold blood. She saw Stephanie's car reversed underneath a covered walkway. An extensive crime scene examination was conducted at the Stanford residence. Police found a car boot liner from a Mazda 3 sedan. Blood on the liner matched Stephanie's DNA. Her DNA was also located in blood on a fuel can, on the outside of a used condom, and some yellow tape found behind the shed. The yellow tape was later matched to similar tape used by painters at Leeton High School. Inside the house, the detectives found Stephanie's keys, a red bra, which was later identified as belonging to Stephanie, and a knife that was later proven to be the murder weapon. Blood found on the knife and a set of handcuffs was also matched to Stephanie's DNA. A lubricant bottle and some condoms, found on a shelf in a cupboard, also had Stephanie's blood on them. A computer in Stanford's bedroom was seized and examined at the State Electronic Evidence Branch. The results were alarming. It contained the following: surveillance-type photos, videos of women and school children, and large cache of bestiality images. Several videos on topics including murder, rape, and bomb-making were also uncovered. The State Electronic Evidence Branch analysis showed that from late Saturday, April 4th, until the early hours of Sunday, April 5th, Stanford spent a considerable amount of time searching the terms widow maker, widow knives, sharpest puncture knives, sharpest knife tips, sharpest knife you can buy, best piercing knives, and serial killer knives. There was also evidence he had conducted further inquiries with a security company regarding leg cuffs. Stanford bought a set of flex cuffs and a dagger-style knife by mail order. On April 14, 2015, a package arrived at Stanford's home and was handed to the police by his mother. It contained the flex cuffs and dagger-style knife Stanford bought online. They also discovered a shocking plan to abduct and murder a 12-year-old girl. There were also logs of the day-to-day activities of women in the town who he had been stalking. It also came to light that Vincent had a long history of violence. When he was just 12 years old, he had choked a teacher, resulting in him being expelled from school and placed in a mental health facility for months. At 8 a.m. on April 10, 2015, a witness attended Leeton Police Station to say he had seen a vehicle fitting the description of Stanford's vehicle pull up near Main Canal about 3:50 p.m. on Easter Sunday. He said a male person threw what appeared to be a laptop into the water before running back to his vehicle and driving away. Police divers found the laptop the following day. The authorities subjected it to a process of rapid drying, and its contents were downloaded. It was Stephanie Scott's work laptop. About 5 p.m. on April 10, 2015, police found the badly burnt remains of a human body on the edge of Cocopara National Park. The body was later identified as the remains of Stephanie Scott. There were no items of clothing or jewelry found at the scene. A scout group based in Griffith, another town in the Riverina region of New South Wales, contacted police to say they had spent the weekend trekking and camping in the park. The scouts were interviewed by special officers trained to interview children. A photo taken at 5:34 p.m. on April 8, 2015, by one of the scouts shows Stanford in the background, in his white truck, driving away from the location of Stephanie's body. The photo was taken just after Stanford had revisited the body and taken the photos police found on his camera. During a subsequent interview, Stanford told detectives he returned to where he had dumped Stephanie's body because he just wanted to see if she was still there and maybe the wildlife would have taken her. On April 11, 2015, Correctional Services at the Juni Correctional Center contacted police to say Stanford wanted to speak with the officer in charge of the investigation. Two detectives drove to the jail to record an interview with Stanford, who was not yet aware police had found Stephanie's body. During the interview, Stanford gave the exact location of Stephanie's body and admitted to the murder. Stanford told police he first saw Stephanie when she was upstairs working in the staff room. He said he had no idea she was going to be there and had never met her before. When he saw Stephanie, he said a feeling came over him. I just felt that I had to kill her. I wasn't angry or anything. I was basically emotionless. Just that I had to kill her. He said he waited for her to leave, and as she walked towards him, Stanford told police she said, "I'm going home now. Have a happy Easter."
That I had to kill her. I wasn't angry or anything. Basically emotionless, just that I had to kill her.
Yep. Did you start waiting from that moment?
No, I continued working.
How long did you continue working till you went and waited?
Until she was ready to leave.
How did you know she was ready to leave?
She put the alarm on in the admin. She said she was leaving.
She said she spoke to you?
I was by the front gate at the time, so was she. That's when I picked her up at about 11:30, I think.
Yep.
She was walking towards the front gate.
Towards you?
Yes.
Yep.
And then I grabbed her.
Where did she speak to you? You said she spoke.
When she was walking away from admin towards the front gate.
And what words did she say to you?
I'm going. Have a happy Easter.
I'm going to have a happy Easter.
Yes.
Vincent explained his motive to police, stating that he had had a deep desire to kill since he was 7 years old. Vincent stated that he did not have any remorse or feel guilt for what he had done and claimed, "This is just the way I am arranged." Stanford said he attacked Stephanie and dragged her into the dark room. Asked why he had a knife with him, he said he brought it into the cleaning store because, "I think I had to open something up." Stanford said he removed the knife from his pocket and hit her in the carotid artery. In this interview, Stanford refers to putting tape on the carotid artery to stop the bleeding. He was asked if there was a reason he stabbed Stephanie in the neck, to which he replied, "To make sure she was dead." After killing Stephanie, Stanford told police he returned home for lunch. He parked his truck at the front of his house, ate a cheese sandwich, and had a coffee before returning to the school. Stephanie was left lying on the floor of the dark room. He stated he was at home for about 10 minutes. A second interview was conducted with Stanford on April 21, 2015, this time at Wagga Wagga Police Station, to clarify and challenge some of the information he had previously supplied and find out where Stephanie's rings were. A post-mortem carried out on April 13, 2015, found the direct cause of death was blunt force head trauma. Bruises were found on the right side of Stephanie's face, and there was a small laceration on the right lateral eyebrow. There was a nasal fracture and a blowout fracture of the right eye, a type of injury often associated with side impact during a car crash. There were 2 stab wounds on the right side of her neck. The right internal jugular vein was disrupted, but there was no associated hemorrhage in the tract. On April 11, 2015, what was supposed to be Stephanie's wedding day, her heartbroken fiancé Aaron, along with Stephanie's loved ones, had a memorial picnic for Stephanie. They all wore yellow, Stephanie's favorite color, and released yellow balloons in tribute to her. Later in April 2015, Marcus Stanford, Vincent's twin brother, admitted to assisting his brother in concealing the crime in the days and weeks after Stephanie's death, including receiving a number of items belonging to her in the mail and later pawning them. He was sentenced to 15 months in jail for being an accessory to the crime and was released on September 9, 2016.
It was only a few moments ago that 9 News spoke exclusively with Marcus Stanford here on the Yorke Peninsula, west of Adelaide. He says he has been staying here for a couple of days. We caught up with him inside the caravan park where he's been staying with his father and will continue to stay for the foreseeable future. It's now been just under 2 weeks since he was released from a New South Wales jail. Last month he'd been given a 15-month sentence for being an accessory after the fact in the murder and sexual assault of Leeton schoolteacher Stephanie Scott last Easter. Now he's served most of that time in custody. We spoke with Marcus briefly inside the caravan park, during which he apologised to Miss Scott's family.
I just want to say sorry for what I've done, and for the hurt I caused the family. And, it's over for now. I hope I won't cause any more trouble. I did a really stupid thing and unfortunately I can't take it back.
Marcus and his father Steve have since moved to a country town in New South Wales, after they say they were run out of their former home when the constant abuse from locals became too much. 5 years on from Stephanie's murder, her heartbroken fiancé was able to find love again. In April 2020, Aaron announced on Facebook that he was engaged to be married to another local of the small Riverina town, Samantha Cirillo. On July 20th, 2016, Vincent Stanford entered guilty pleas to aggravated sexual assault and murder. On October 13, 2016, Vincent Stanford appeared in Sydney's Central Local Court after being extradited from South Australia. He pled guilty to murder and was sentenced to 15 years in jail for aggravated sexual assault, followed by a life sentence for the murder. He will likely never be released from prison. These were the judge's statement.
I am satisfied that this is a case of murder that clearly falls within the worst category. It does so to the extent that subjective matters that might ordinarily call for amelioration of the sentencing response should be set aside. I am satisfied beyond any doubt that the offender's culpability is so extreme that the community interest in retribution, punishment, community protection and deterrence can be met with only one response. Mr. Stanford, would you stand up, please? For the aggravated sexual assault and the murder of Stephanie Claire Scott, you are convicted. Both of the sentence I impose will take effect from the 8th of April 2015. For the aggravated sexual assault, you are sentenced to imprisonment for 15 years. I decline to nominate a proportion of that sentence as a non-parole period, as there is no utility in doing so. For the murder of Stephanie Scott, you are sentenced to imprisonment for life.